What's up, Stephen Johnson stocks? Um, good month closed out October, uh, up $920. This week I was up $460, but I took a bit of a reckless short and ended up 330. I covered half, and I've got half right into next week, but it is up on its fourth green day in a row. So with the stock gods on my side. Hopefully that might turn into a profit. And I'll keep on trucking. I'm up about $80 this month so far. You'll see in the Excel. But yeah, not gonna run into too many things. Just gonna stress between YouTube, the Steady Trade podcast. I'm doing a guest interview to see how I got profitable and turned things around for Stocks to Trade Pro members on the strategy session on Monday. So if you're in that, look forward to seeing you there. And pretty much working 4 days a week at a full time job or semi full time, like 35 hours a week, and trading. It's tough, but if you're doing that too, then I respect and admire you. If you're doing that and you're short biased, maybe I'm looking to help one more person because I'm teaching one person semi, like one lesson a week. Maybe I'll help you. There's more info about that in the Excel. I'll run through the challenge, affiliate links for silver in the challenges below. Live the dream, work hard, and it takes it out of you sometimes, and I'm fucking wrecked sometimes. But I wouldn't have life any other way. I'll see you later. So it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good, and the main thing that I kind of look at now is because you never know with the market. Are you having a bit of luck? Are you not having a look? Are you not having luck? But I mean, to have luck for probably what is in August, I actually got squeezed on twice and lost a few $100. Otherwise, August would have been green as well. It was just one trade that fucked me. So I was profitable every week after August. So to be green 3 weeks in August, 4 weeks in September, 4 weeks in October, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11 a week in November. So to be August, I mean, I've been profitable for 3 straight months pretty much for 12 weeks. So it's getting to the point where it doesn't feel like luck anymore. Because how are you red for 10 months and then profitable for three in a row? After being red for 10 in a row, or 12 in a row, or 14 in a row, whatever. But it's all allocated for winning percentage, tracking winning percentage to going from the 14s to the 20s to the 30s to the 40s to the 60s. And the one thing I'm concerned about is that I am holding a position on BGG, which was a bit of a reckless short. Into next week, half of it I took half of the loss, which you'll see, and the other half I'm holding. So I might be starting red week, red on the month, which will be sad. Or maybe only $20-$30. I don't think it'll be by much, but um, I'll be building back up again. So for that reason, I'm being a bit conservative with targets. I don't want. I just want to break 1,000. If I can break $1,000 in November, I'll be very happy with that. But I'm not getting carried away. I'm not like I was like I'll win 2,000. Then with BGG, I got a bit of a shock that I can be reckless. I can fall into bad habits and I can take losses of 100 or 200 as well. So you'll see more as the Excel continues. But again, a lot of the patterns I play are gap and craps. I'm building to this list all the time. The way I've got successful is by tracking profit and loss. Spreadsheets available. I'm selling it on PayPal for $100. It was going to be 125, but it's going to be 100. I need to keep on tracking. I need to keep on tracking setups. Keep on building to this, and I'm also I'm not perfect by any means, but I am getting to grips with things, and I don't mind helping a few other people, but the disclaimer is I'm only good on the short side. You really should have an interactive brokers account or a trade zero account, and you should be short biased. And if you are only short biased, then I don't mind maybe teaching one other person if it's semi regular, like $50 an hour once a week, something like that. I've already got one student, and I did one lesson. Now it's getting more regular, so I'm going to do some just to help one or two people out and for small profits for me. So eventually I can cut down on hours at work and stuff like that and go full time into trading. So I'll take one more person. I'm teaching one. I'll take one more. If that's you, hit us up. But only if you're short biased, and only if you have an account where you can scale in and out, because that's what I need to teach. Onto the trades. Oh, and by the way, I'm up like 300 and something this week. So this is MICT, and we saw in the morning on the 30th that it had gapped up from the 70s to the 80 to the 90s, 70s to the 90s, and the news was I'll just bring this in. Netro Newsbeat, it got like a 3.1 million order, which is cool. It got a contract order, but when I look back at the SEC filings, this company never seems to make money. So it's cool that it got an order, and that's definitely a positive sign. But you've got to look at all of the indicators, the long-term chart history, how it performs when it has volume, how's it doing pre-market, what's its support and resistance levels, how's the company doing in general. So the news is just one indicator of five. If you just look at the news and buy, then you're not looking at the full picture. So if we go back out, I always like to look at maybe a 2-year chart, and it's a terrible long-term chart. And every time it spikes on any kind of volume, like here, spikes and fails, 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 spikes and fails. Never puts 2 green days together. This was its last big down volume, spikes and fails. So yeah, it's got news, but it's got a bad long-term chart, so that's like 1-1. And 2, it always fails when it spikes, that's like 2-1 to the short side. And then when we look at it, it's got resistance everywhere. So when we think pretend this day didn't happen. Just looking here, like the last 1, 2, 3, 4 times it tried to test 99, it failed. And then if we go further back, we don't even need to go further back, but if you go further back, the next level of resistance is kind of like around here, maybe the 145s. It's hard to say because it fails so much, but it bottomed here a lot. So you've got the kind of the 112s or bottom, and support becomes resistance. But really, for me, the most recent line is top. It's the 99 area. Yeah, and surprise, it pops up on news, fails to hold its highs. I think this is like a little blip. This didn't really happen, but it fails to hold its highs. That's like 3-1 to shorts. So I'm going to short it because there's 3 bearish indicators and 1 bullish indicator. And where does it top out? 99 when the market opens. I don't look at this because there's no point looking at this area because it's all on light volume. You want to look at the support and resistance where there's volume. And it topped at 99. Like, where was the resistance? Top, 99. So I was building in the 93s, 94s, because I didn't want it just to drop at the open because I knew it was weak. And then I had a lot more short in the 99s, some in the 104s, some in the 106s, just in case it got back up there. But it didn't. It collapsed, and then I was covering in the 85s, the 82s, chunks in the 79s. So I was about a kind of a 95, 96 maybe selling position, and I was buying back probably about in the 82s, 83s, so taking 10, 12, 13%. So for ISIG, it's an interesting one because it's I track the Excel, and generally stocks that go from the 140s to the 160s. That's a gap of about 15%. Not ideal for the kind of the gap and crap strategy that I track, but I do know that most of the stocks that gap up, they do tend to spike 5, 6, 7, 8% before coming down. This one did spike a bit more. But what got me on this one, maybe it's a little bit more risky than the average players, and it's an earnings winner, so it is more risky, and it's low float. This was a risky-ish trade. I would never tell anyone to do it who was starting out. It's just, what got me was just the suicidal resistance. When we see, one, it's a bad long-term chart, and 2, it's got really big resistance around the 210s, 212s. It's got a lot in the 217s, and then if we go more recently, it's got a lot of resistance in the 189s, topped. So I was thinking, I'll give it a shot at, and I'll start building in the kind of the 189s. I'll cut it above 210. It's a wide risk. It was maybe quite risky, but if just because you guys are like, what are your orders? So I was building in short in the 188s, adding in the 191, adding 196, because 88 was the resistance, so that was my biggest sell. Doesn't say how many shares, but I think it was a $1,200 here, and then another $1,000, and then 91s and 96s. So I've actually, and then I was selling in the 171s. Twice I sold. Is it? Yeah, 171. I covered both. One was 175. One was 177. That's it. So it's covering 75 and 77. So I've marked that out on the chart, so we can see that it had gapped up. It didn't show any pre-market signs of weakness. But I mean, my thinking was, when it tests this first level, top in the 188s, I was thinking it's at least going to pull back off that, because I was like, I'll at least short the pullback when it pulls back from 188. So this was the resistance point. So we can go in quite close. It's interesting. So pushes out of the gate, spikes. I take my first big order into this candle here, because that's the resistance point. It pushes through as if to test the 210s, which is the next resistance point. And I'm short a little bit more, short a little bit more. I think I had orders to shorten more in the 210s than I would have had to cut it in the 210s, and I probably would have lost, if it had blew through, I would have lost a few hundred, I think, maybe 150-ish. But my thesis was, it's got to at least pull back here or here. So I had kind of two lives. It took out my first life, and then building in, I would have gone big here, and then if it didn't pull back here, it's just got mental strength and I have to cut it. It's like the anomaly. But it broke my first life, couldn't test the second major resistance point. Remember, 210 was the bigger resistance point, 187 at the top, 3 times more in the short term. And then it came down, and I was covering in the 77s, hoping for bigger profits, but when it bounced, made the higher low, I got out. In this, I would imagine I'm not the only one with the idea to short into resistance. This is likely longs and shorts getting squeezed. But then ultimately, and this is why I don't like to cut immediately at resistance, because there's so many fake outs that I'd like to let it go a couple of cents, but then if you let it go a couple of cents, why not let it go a couple of more cents? That's the danger. Like, I need to come up with a strategy where I think I'm not cutting at resistance, because 210 breaks, everyone buys the breakout, but then all of a sudden the breakout happens, and then it's like you enter into the beyond the wall. I think of a Berlin Wall. You go beyond the Berlin Wall, and then there's nothing there. It's empty. So then everyone sells. You get the mass panic, and it goes right back down. So this was a brilliant textbook short at the 210s, and I saw Crook covered his in the Tim Challenge chat room, and for me, I would give it a little bit of. It depends. If you're shorting in 210, maybe give it 5 or 6 cents risk. But if you're shorting like the 190s and you double on up at 210, then it breaks 210, then you have to cover. So it depends on your range. But anyway, for me, I was playing against this resistance, took profits at the higher low, glad to be out and book it. And last and certainly least is BBG, and this is where I got a bit cocky, and I'm really disappointed in myself, because I'll now, unless I get a little bit of fortune, I'll be going into next week with maybe a $50 or $100 loss. I don't know, or maybe it'll turn into a profit. I don't know. I'll explain the situation, but basically, I play up key long-term resistance levels, and this has, and if we look back at the last year here, I mean, I basically shorted it because it was up 3 days in a row, and it had previous day resistance, which is not a good enough reason. You need long-term entrenched Game of Thrones style resistance, and this hasn't really got any. And it's, I mean, yeah, it's, if you go on the year chart, I mean, it's at multi-year highs in the 8s, but this is like 3 or 4 days on low volume. It's not proper resistance. I'm basically shorting because I'm thinking, oh my god, look, this stock is up 3 days in a row. It has got fading volume. It is up 3 days in a row. It is due to at least pull back. It's an earnings winner that can go on more than you think, but it's due a pullback. And I was just trying to be clever, thinking I failed here and came down, so maybe it'll do the same again. It's on its 4th day, and it collapsed yesterday afternoon, so it's looking a bit weak, and it's fading volume. So there's a lot of signs. Normally I shorten a major resistance. I didn't this time. I shorted in the previous day. So, I mean, but still, I mean, it's a bit of a bad trade, but it's not terrible, but it's not the best. I shouldn't be trying to guess the top. I should be waiting for maybe more of a weak sign. But anyway, again, I wouldn't be bothered, but I was building in the six. Better to show you like this. I was building in the 630s, 635s, and then when it broke 640, it's like fine. Maybe give yourself 10 cents to 650. But when it breaks 650, it's the $half mark. It's a confirmed breakout above the previous day high. It's like I don't know why I'm not getting out in the 52s, 53s and just cutting. And I would have lost maybe 30, $40, but when I'm right, I'm making 100, 150, 200. When I'm wrong, I'm losing 50. Like, that's fine. And it even pulled back. And I could have got out for like a $20, $30 loss. I could have got out for more or less break even. At this point, maybe a $20 loss. But I didn't. I let it squeeze. It squeezed up to the 675s. Me broker, Trade Zero, bought me in for half of my shares. That I was in 800 shares. It bought me in half of them at the worst possible time. So I was fucked. I took $130 and I didn't even want to cover. I got bought in because I had me full. Because with Trade Zero, I've got like a $1,500 account. It's a small account, but you're not allowed to have your whole account in short overnight. I didn't realize. So the bought is half back in. So that was fucked. And this is like more longer term resistance on the 2-year chart. So, I mean, but it's miles away, and maybe it's bottomed here a couple of times. I can only hope it's going to come down. If it pops tomorrow, I'm going to take another $130, $140 loss next week, and I'm going to spend the week making back the money to make sure I have a green week. So not the best end, but ideally this will run out of steam. It's in an area now where it's coming into resistance in the 680s, 690s, some in the 660s, 670s where it already is. So I can only hope. But it's a somber end to a good week just because I didn't cut a loss. And just a reminder, I've just been recently interviewing Stephen Docks and Roland Wolf on the Steady Trade podcast, and that'll be coming out in the next couple of weeks. I think season 2 of the Steady Trade podcast should be out in the next few weeks, and there's going to be a lot more video of that, so that's cool. But I just want to say dream big. Like, I always say this, but about 18 months ago, 19 months ago, whatever, first YouTube video, shaking, didn't know anything about trading, never knew what I was doing. It is very, very, very possible to do anything you want, and I always say this to me flatmate as well. And I say this to myself. This game is you versus you, and you don't realize that until you see how easy it is to get opportunities, how easy it is to actually make money in the stock market if you just put in the dedication. But if you think to yourself, how many hours did I do studying today? I only did one. What effort did I make on YouTube? I didn't make any effort. Like, then obviously you're not going to have success. You need to put 10 hours in a day. And if you're putting in 10 hours every day and you're still not successful, then send us a message and let's chat. Because I don't think I've met anyone who puts in 10 hours a day every day for a year and isn't successful. So just write fucking 10 hours in the comments section. And I do this so when other people discover the videos later, I see them going through each video and leaving the comment, because you might be saying this in 2019. But live the dream. This is just the beginning. On the way to 1 million. Comment hours. I'll see you later.